Today's presiding officer, Lieutenant General Brian S. Robinson, Commander, Air Education and Training Command. Welcome to today's change of command. I am Captain Victoria Adelusi and will be the narrator for the ceremony. Today, the reins of responsibility and leadership for the 59th Medical Wing will pass from Brigadier General Jeannine M. Ryder to Brigadier General Harrell. Our change of command ceremony is a time-honored military tradition deeply rooted in history, which dates back to the time of Frederick the Great of Prussia. During that period, military organizations developed flags unique to the unit with specialized colors and designs. When the soldiers followed their leaders into battle, their flag was used to provide a very visible point around which members of the unit could rally during the conflict. Both commander and soldiers of a unit would dedicate their loyalty, trust, and allegiance to the flag. The formal change of command ceremony afforded these troops the opportunity to witness a new leader assuming their dutiful position. Today's music and national anthem is provided by the United States Air Force Band of the West, Night Watch Woodwind Quintet. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of our official party, the playing of ruffles and flourishes, the national anthem, and invocation.
Present the colors.
Head high colors. Hands high. Right shoulder hard. Put ready, hut.
Thank you, color guard and band members. Chaplain Mary Davidson, please offer the invocation.
Please join me in prayer. Gracious God, in the Bible we read of a historic change in leadership between two remarkable individuals, Moses and his successor Joshua. Moses expertly led and supported the Israelites for years. He helped them overcome various obstacles. He achieved lofty goals, and he successfully delivered the people to the border of the Promised Land. Moses then gracefully stepped down as leader and blessed his successor Joshua with the stirring words, "Be strong and courageous, for you must go with the people into the land, knowing that the Lord will be with you, for he will never leave you nor forsake you." Generals Ryder and Harrell, this change of command ceremony shares certain commonalities with this scriptural story. Brigadier General Ryder, you, like Moses, have displayed great expertise, compassion, and loyalty to those under your leadership. As you have previously stated, you are fortunate to work with great airmen and medics and care for the most deserving patients in the world. Moreover, you have humbly yet supportively walked alongside us as we overcame various obstacles, some of which you spelled out in your recent farewell message: perseverance with the implementation of NHS Genesis, transitioning out of the Defense Health Agency, and dealing with an unprecedented global pandemic. Yet, despite it all, you stayed true to your course, achieved lofty goals, and succeeded in producing an improved ready force, ready medics, and safe, accessible healthcare for our beneficiaries. In short, you have accomplished your mission of bringing us successfully to our destination of world-class healthcare innovators. For these and many other reasons, we offer you and your beloved family our heartfelt appreciation for all the sacrifices and hard work you've made in our behalf. In turn, I pray that God bless you, General Ryder, not only for being the commander of the 59th Medical Division, but for being the incoming commander of the Air Force Medical Readiness Agency and Defense Health Network Director. May the years ahead bring you the same success, honor, and distinction that you have brought here, and may those who serve you receive the same wonderful support, respect, and appreciation that you have so generously bestowed upon us. But like the biblical tale of Moses and Joshua, the story doesn't end with the departure of Brigadier General Ryder. Assuming the mantle of leadership as our highly respected and successful new commander, Brigadier General Thomas Harrell. Like the biblical character of Joshua, General Harrell will maintain and build upon the legacy that has been left to him, so that he can symbolically bring us into the promised land of even greater mission success. Aiding him in this task is his positive attitude in which he looks for the good and godliness in everyone he meets. This perspective is described in one of his favorite quotes by author C.S. Lewis in the book The Way of the Lord, which states, "There are no ordinary people who have never talked to a mere mortal." Aside from his positive attitude, however, General Harrell will be further bolstered by the ongoing support of his family, friends, and colleagues. But most importantly, as a man of faith, he can enter his new position confidently knowing what Moses told Joshua. Be strong and courageous, for the Lord will be with you, for God will never leave you nor forsake you. For all these aforementioned reasons, I now close this invocation by blessing him and his loved ones with the ancient Hebrew words and English translation of the biblical priestly benediction by which the Israelite religious leaders lovingly bless the faithful. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May the Lord bless you and protect you. Ye'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichunecha. May the Lord shine his face toward you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May the Lord show you kindness and always grant you peace. And together let us say, Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Davidson. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. We are honored to introduce the family members of the official party. Lieutenant General Robinson's spouse, Mrs. Maureen Robinson. Brigadier General Ryder's spouse, Mr. Terry Ryder. Also joining Brigadier General Harrell's spouse, Mrs. Carice Harrell. Distinguished visitors attending today are the 17th Surgeon General of the Air Force, Lieutenant General P.K. Carlton, and his wife, Mrs. Jan Carlton. The 21st Surgeon General of the Air Force, Lieutenant General Thomas Travis. The 22nd Surgeon General of the Air Force, Lieutenant General Mark Edgar. The Deputy Surgeon General of the Air Force, Major General John DeGose. The Deputy Commander, Air Education and Training Command, Major General James Sears. The Command Chief, Air Education and Training Command, Chief Master Sergeant Chad Bigley. The Deputy Wing Commander, 59th Medical Wing, Colonel Kristen Beals. The Command Chief, 59th Medical Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Christy Earls and her husband, Mr. Waylon Earls. The former Commander, 59th Medical Wing, Major General Lee Rogers. The former Commander, 59th Medical Wing, Major General Byron Hepburn. The former Commander of the 19th Air Force, Major General Craig Wills. Although time does not allow us to introduce all of our distinguished guests, we would like to extend a warm welcome to each of you. Thank you all for attending today. It is my pleasure to introduce General Robinson.
Thank you. Thanks. Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me okay? I will try to talk slowly because I have this mask in front of me, but it's in the interest of safety that I do this for everybody's safety, so I appreciate being here. First, let me just start by thanking the entire staff who put this together, as well as the protocol team at the 59th Medical Wing, as well as ATC. This is a tremendous effort. First time the change of command ceremony has been done here, so this is the first of. So to the Harrells, congratulations on getting to experience this as well. And to the Ryders, thanks for having the vision to actually pull this off. So thank you very much. So just a round of applause for all that. Thank you for being here as well. To our esteemed guests, all the former Air Force Surgeons Generals, thank you for being here, taking time out of your very busy schedules. John DeGose as well, thank you. John Sears, thanks for being here as well. He's just glad. He came to see that I actually showed up because up until yesterday it was either him or I were doing this. And so he wanted to make sure that when he's an able wingman, like in case I didn't make it, he was here. But anyway, thanks for doing what you do. I appreciate that. So I'd like to start out briefly by talking about the 59th Medical Wing. It often goes, probably, I would say, not said loudly enough, often enough about the importance of this unit and what it means to the United States Air Force. And the closest analogy that comes to mind for me is if you drop a stone in the middle of a pond, the waves, the ripple effect, it just kind of works its way out from there. But if you think about this pond I'm talking about is the entire Air Force. And that's the consequence that this wing, 59th Medical Wing, has. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit because you have one of the most sacred missions. Not only the care and provide provision for health care, physical and mental health care for the men and women that are in your unit, but the men and women of the United States Air Force, but also in relative periods of calm, in periods of national response, but also in preparation for periods of great conflict. And that's the purpose that you all have here. So I'm going to just say it out loud so we can say we said it out loud, some of the consequential things that go on. In addition to the roughly 260,000 beneficiaries in the Joint Base San Antonio area that you all provide for in your own readiness, there's just a slew of other things that we do. I'm going to hit the wave tops, but I'm certainly not hitting them all. But I'll end with one that probably a whole lot of people don't know about that I didn't know about until about November of last year. General Ryder and I know the one I'll probably talk about very briefly, but it's amazing that while you do that mission here, supporting 260,000 beneficiaries, you're also one step to provide one Air Force theater hospital, or two Air Force theater hospitals rather, or one expeditionary medical support EMEDS team, or one in-route patient care system that's 50 patients capable, or two in-route patient care systems, support systems that is 100 persons capable. And it can be an and or. You provide 28 CCAT critical care ambulatory transport team function responsibilities here. This wing provides 25% of the Air Force Medical Services contingent requirements for deployment while you do that daily job here. By the way, you have the DoD's only ECMO system by which you provide service for the entirety of DoD beneficiaries. I'm not going to try to say ECMO in total because I would get it wrong, but think machine-aided heart and lung functionality from the layperson, but you have those here. Secondarily, this is a very, very robust readiness generation platform. By the work that you do at Brooke Army Medical Center, and by the way, Colonel Stackland, thanks for being here. I really appreciate your partnership for that. You provide roughly 45% of the uniformed service members that comprise Brooke Army Medical Center, because that is the DoD's only level 1 trauma center, and you generate the necessary readiness in addition to delivering health care to beneficiaries who need it for your own purposes, for maintaining readiness for your missions, many of which I just laid out. Ultimately, that's for your proficiency and acumen in combat casualty care. You do that through Brooke Army Medical Center. It's also, in partnership there, you operate the largest graduate medical education program, roughly 30,000 trainees. Again, this is an average day or year in the life here. But I talked about the pond, the rock in the pond that has a ripple effect. What I enjoy most about the 59th Medical Wing and General Ryder's leadership here is you are part and parcel of what we call the Big Six. The 6 components of Air Education and Training Command that actually set the foundation for the Air Force. And the ways you do that probably, again, go unsung, unnoticed by many. Right here at Joint Base San Antonio, Lackland, for example, you provide for the health care, the public health screening, and advisement for the 37 training wing for the 30,000 basic military trainees that come through here every year. And it starts here, but that has very quick orders of, I call them knock-on effects, because those airmen leave here every week to go off to a tech training center. And they go off in those spaces either healthy or go out there with risk to the next population they're going to be part of. You provide the same for the Special Warfare Training Wing that's also here at the Medina Annex. And again, I mentioned the one I was going to bring up in November of 22. If you didn't know, we have the DoD's only military working dog program here at Lackland, roughly up to 800 military working dogs. And the 59th Medical Wing has a relationship with making sure that program is successful. And I'm sure I missed something because the list goes on and on. Those are the big ones there, in addition to working this through. So the expertise of the people here really, really matters. And it's consequential. So I wanted you to know that that's noticed, and we have to get that message out and say it out loud very, very often. Specifically to General Ryder, one of the things I often talk about when you do research for a ceremony like this is you want to know, hey, when did you all first meet? Oftentimes we're looking for, it can be something funny. That's kind of what we're trying to find. Aside from the change of command for me last May, I think the next time I became aware of Jeannine and General Ryder was an email in my inbox from her vice saying, hey, Brigadier General Ryder has been admitted to the hospital. And I'm like, what? And so, as attested to, she's been working hard. You all have been working hard through what I'll describe here in a bit. But what it comes down to is she's in the hospital because she's working hard. Now, I can attest that as a pilot, I'm probably one of the world's worst passengers. Maureen will tell you that. I'm listening for the gear to come down on time, the flaps are not set, all that kind of stuff. So I can only imagine a twofold patient that's, number one, the commander of the facility that she's in, and two, she's also a practicing medical professional. So she has a thing or two to say about healthcare, as I know this because my mother's a nurse and I get the same thing from her. But be that as it may, it was a testimony that she was here, but really what it came down to is the care you provide for her, and what it was is she was really trying to get after the job still from the hospital bed. And I got on the phone with her and said, hey, I don't need to hear from you right now. I need you to recover. Let your deputy take the mantle for a few days. And I hope she heeded that, or she just stopped emailing me. But it shows the passion, the leadership, the pride you have in this mission and what you do. So one thing that's been true for the Air Force, but especially for the 59th Medical Wing, as I described in all the things that you do, is during your time here, Jeannine, one thing that's been constant has been 2 years of change. I won't go into great detail on it because you'll hear a lot of that in the declaration, but 2 years of constant change with a couple of exceptional operational environment experiences laid on top just for good measure. Think Operations Allies Welcome. Think coming out of COVID and how to segue out of that, for example. So first and foremost, I want to thank you for your tremendous partnership and conviction with the Brooke Army Medical Center leadership team. You took great pride and passion and saw the importance of making sure that team at every echelon, those teams are forming a single team. And you did that by hook or crook through a series of very loosely written or outdated MOUs, memorandums of understanding, or memorandums of support. That's no easy task. You worked tirelessly at the vertical and horizontal columns to make sure people understood where your mind was, where things were going. One thing I really do respect is you were clear-eyed about taking care of your people. And that really is a tremendous amount of respect for me. But also, as equally important, you were steely-eyed about the vision of the future and the need for readiness of this force and the importance that it mattered. So much so, there's a reason why the 59th Medical Wing has the highest readiness levels of most of the MTFs in the United States Air Force right now, because of the hard work, your leadership and the hard work of people around you. I can always count on you for the 411. Some of us are old enough to know what that means. But not only the 411, but your thoughts on, hey, what should you do about it? Here's my recommendation, which all that a leader could ask for. But most importantly, I talked about the exemplar medical readiness, I think I would say you are among the few rare people, almost unicorn-like in the sense that you are, in my experience, you are somebody who is not only a medical services corps officer, but you truly understand operations, you understand the doctrine, you understand the warfighting, you understand the professional arms. And the way that you blend those two things together to understand how to command a unit and lead a unit in this way has been phenomenal. And I've been blessed to be able to serve on this team with you, and I've been truly honored to be able to serve you and hopefully enable you to move the mission forward. So thanks for all you do. So as you move forward to the Air Force Medical Readiness Agency, we wish you all the best. We know you're going to be great there. We're going to feel your touch. The ripple's coming back that way, which is good. It is a small world for sure. Just like we felt the touch from General Harrell when he was the CD just vacated. But in the season of change, as it always goes in military formations, it's time to prepare the unit for the future, part of which includes new leadership, because leadership rotates out. So I trust you have prepared the 59th Medical Wing aptly for the leadership and stewardship of General Harrell who's coming in, and you've done a phenomenal job with that. So we look forward to what you do in the future from that perspective. And I'll end with thanking Terry. Terry, you as the lead spouse and we upstairs, I said, hey, I'm not sure how I'm going to talk about you. So he got this kind of concerned look. But what I've learned from Terry he's a very accomplished human being, a very accomplished man, but he's humble about all that he's done. To him, he's like, yeah, it's just what I do. Who, me? But he has a very even-keeled outlook in life, always worried about Jeannine, and what her welfare is looking like and her balance between part of life, call to service. It's no doubt that you care about her, that you care about this organization too, and you've made that yourself visible in that way, but you don't take any credit for it. You've oftentimes said time and time again, I don't know what I'm doing, this is what you get. I'm just going to try my best, you know. So for that, we're very, very thankful for the role you've played, the support you've given to Jeannine and the family, but also the support you've given to the 59 Medical. It's been tremendous. Thank you very much. So to the men and women of the 59th Medical Wing, you know, you're getting a wonderful commander who I have great trust and confidence in, with John Harrell coming in. Without a doubt, his experience that he's accumulated before here will carry its weight and influence the hands, the touch that he puts on the wing and what the distance you'll finish going. He's ready to take the baton from General Ryder and continue running the race, because the race is not over. I'll talk about that here in a second. But his experience as the Air Force Medical Readiness Agency Commander just recently gives him a unique aspect of medical readiness, of which I just described. He's a prior AETC Command Surgeon General, so he understands AETC in the way I just described, how it is a collective, woven interdependent net of functions to get done to make this command's mission successful, as well as the Air Force. As that Command Surgeon General, he actually had a hand in defining developing the Air Medical Waiver Division, which, as you know, many of you do not know, that was 7 years ago almost. It's still in use today, and I think it's going to continue to be in use for a long time, because it does a great job in providing an evidence-based decision matrix within which we can assess the risk we need to take with what we do with our airmen in the service, joining the service, or retaining them in the service. Your experience in the AOR and Iraqi Freedom as a member of the line, on the line servicing airmen and soldiers of all, the joint force rather, and taking care of them in battle and getting them back on either repatriated home or back on their feet into the fight has been tremendous. So we have all the confidence in you that you're going to do wonders here, and we look forward to working with you as you come through. But what I can tell you is, one thing that's not going to settle down is the environment of change. We all know what we're talking about. We have to continue to evolve as an Air Force for great power competition and or conflict should it come to that. If the conflict happens, we are looking at a key medical force element that's going to be a force multiplier. Likely, as well, to go with that, there is significant organizational change, not just within the medical community, but within the Air Force that's likely on the horizon. The United States Air Force has not seen change like I think we're contemplating now, probably since Desert Storm. Think about that. That's several decades ago. We've got some tough decisions to make sure we're ready. If you saw the Secretary of the Air Force's PA release yesterday, where the theme was, I'm not sure we're ready enough yet for the PRC. That should give us all pause about what we need to get after, continue to get after to make sure that we're ready to go. So, congratulations on taking the reins for the 59th Medical Wing. You're going to do great, without a doubt. I look forward to working with you and Carice, and let us know what we need to do to get be good stewards of you and your mission to help you succeed in the mission here. We're thrilled, Marie and I are thrilled to have you on the team, and we look forward to working with you these upcoming months, if not years. So thanks very much. So without that, with that being aside and acknowledging these two wonderful people and leaders, I think it's time to put the cap on acknowledging General Ryder. We'll do that, and then we'll get on with the ceremony. Thank you very much.
Thank you, General Robinson. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the presentation of the Defense Superior Service Medal to Brigadier General Ryder. Citation to accompany the award of the Defense Superior Service Medal to Jeannine M. Ryder. Brigadier General Jeannine M. Ryder, United States Air Force, distinguished herself by superior meritorious service in a position of significant responsibility as Director, San Antonio Market, Defense Health Agency from April 2021 to September 2023. During this period, General Ryder oversaw the historical activation of the San Antonio Market, operating a $1.1 billion budget and leading over 14,000 members in support of 255,000 beneficiaries in the Defense Health Agency's largest multi-service market. Her fluid market strategy secured the largest training platform in the Department of Defense, producing a ready medical force capable of responding to international contingencies, natural disasters, or mass casualty events, providing trauma, burn, and critical care air transportation on a global scale to all military services. Additionally, the always ready focus enabled numerous directives from the President of the United States to include the resettlement of Afghans during Operation Allies Welcome and the monumental delivery of coronavirus disease-19 vaccinations, solidifying critical alliances and safeguarding the nation's health. The distinctive accomplishments of Brigadier General Ryder reflect great credit upon herself, the United States Air Force, and the Department of Defense. It is my pleasure to introduce Brigadier General Ryder.
Good morning. Good morning. I think I just hit puberty. What a great venue to have this ceremony. And all I can say is just wow. It's been quite a 2.5 years. So to senior leaders, to our former Surgeon Generals, to the former 59th Medical Wing Commanders, Command Chiefs, Chiefs, First Sergeants, our community and Joint Base San Antonio partners, Banzi and San Antonio Market teammates, family and friends, and most importantly, the men and women of the 59th Medical Wing. Thank you for being here, being present, and welcoming, most importantly, Tom and Carice to the 59th Medical Wing. To those who planned and organized this ceremony, your time, effort, and the amount of detail that goes into an event like this does not go unnoticed. So protocol extraordinaire, Mr. Cody Kirksey, thank you, and my AETC, Mr. Say. The Band of the West brings great class, professionalism, and a beautiful melody wherever they go. The meaningful and eloquent words of the chaplain, I've never been compared to Moses before, so, and I'm not sure if you've been compared to Joshua before, but to the honor guard, always sharp, well-prepared, a magnificent representation of the Air Force, the Master of Ceremony, Victoria, doing an amazing job in getting us through. Lots of efforts to get scripts right, escorts, receptions, parking spaces, so to Master Sergeant Amanda Gilbert, Major Anisha Hicks, Lieutenant Colonel David Schindler, and Senior Master Sergeant Kimberly Crowell, thank you for your time, your effort, and your detail to this ceremony. This is a time of thanksgiving, gratitude, and reflection. Terry and I arrived on the 29th of April in 2021. We knew it was going to be busy. I understood the mission, or I thought I understood the mission, the operations, the challenges, the opportunities. And then you add a global pandemic, transformation and maturation of the Defense Health Agency, implementation of a new electronic medical record, preparation for the Joint Commission inspection, the deployment of many for COVID support or Operation Allied Welcome, and that was in the first 8 months. And then there are people, the heart and soul of this wing. Successes, celebrations, trials and sorrow, and what I soon found was that this was the master class and I was going to be a student every single day. So to General Robinson, an incredible boss, the #1 supporter and advocate for this wing, your counsel and time and your vector check were priceless to me and to this wing. I appreciate both you and Maureen, how you lead, your integrity, your commitment to our airmen, our guardians, in the First Command. I am honored to serve with both of you. To my Big Six and Joint Base San Antonio colleagues, I'm thankful for your support, your friendship, and your constructive feedback on how we can support you every single day. It was good feedback. We deserve the feedback. This is a demanding environment with a complex mission set. The collaboration is second to none. To the Banzi and San Antonio Market, my team. Wow. We support 250,000 patients, We have the sole Level 1 Trauma Center and Burn Unit. The Trauma Center covers 22 counties, over 100 clinics, 14,000 medics, military, civilian, and contractors. Usually 200 are deployed at any given time on any given day. We have 1,200 trainees sitting on between the 59th and BAMC, between graduate medical education and dental, and our Phase 2 programs in allied health and nursing. Then there's both ECMO, PEDS, and NICU. We are the nation's and the DOD's 911. This partnership, and then there's the partnership that we have with the entire San Antonio healthcare networks and our civilian partners to make sure we can take care of our beneficiaries. The capabilities, the capacity, and the clinical and training expertise is elite. And it is elite because of teamwork, commitment to our patients and each other, but the bottom line is because it's not about the Army, it's not about the Air Force, it's not about the threads that are on our uniforms. It's about taking care of the sons and daughters of our nation, the ones who committed their lives to defend the Constitution against all enemies. It is a bit weird and hard to not take personally, but I have served with 5 BAMC commanding officers and commanding CGs. I have served with Mike Wirt, Clint Murray, Kim Bieber, Deidre Tahan, and Mark Sacco. Each an outstanding leader. Mr. Damon Bain in the market office and his team, he expertly guided and informed our governance to make sure that the 59th and BAMC were aligned for Defense Health Agency priorities and their strategic plan. The bottom line is the San Antonio multi-service market is on the right trajectory. It has tremendous leaders, amazing medics, and the mindset that the San Antonio is the center of gravity for all military medicine. As many of you know, I wear a few hats. My schedule is either the biggest game of Tetris you'll ever see or a jigsaw puzzle. The to-do list is kind of long. If anybody's been in a meeting, you know I have a lot of questions and a lot of details. Getting me prepped for a day is quite the feat, but I am fortunate to have the best executive officers for Captain Dylan Brown, who's now at Scott, Major Samantha Parham, and then my executive assistant, Sheila Jackson. They have been my lifesavers. Their flexibility and adaptability is unheard of, and they have saved the day more than ever. So thank you, sir. Thank you. The CAG, the CSS, protocol, the command chiefs, execs, Jasmine and Ryan, the director of staff, PA, lots of taskers, multiple stakeholders, right message, documents signed, info shared. What you do every day matters, and you do it very well. I am blessed with the best group commanders, group squadron, wing staff commanders, SELs, first sergeants of 3 letters. We are an integrated healthcare system within an integrated healthcare system. With a capital, letters, and fireworks, it is a unified effort every single day. We support 265 mission partners, no-fail missions, multiple line and medical training pipelines, and just think, every single enlisted airman or guardian has either been evaluated or cared for by the 59th Medical Wing. Every single one. Your leadership, dedication, ability to nurture relationships across the Joint Base San Antonio and our community makes incredible impact. Make sure that you care for our medics. You've made tough decisions. In the last 2 years, you made what seemed the impossible possible. I want to say it has been a privilege to serve with all of you. So the trifecta, or my trifecta, and I am the weakest link, so it is Colonel Beals, Kristen Beals, and Chief Christy Earls behind that flag. And so they are my trusted agents and my lifesavers. Kristen has been given the hardest tasks. So, access, OR optimization, the Joint Commission prep, implementation of NHS Genesis, and the final victory was getting the Special Warfare Training's MOU signed. I don't know if Nate was here, but that was a big victory. We might have had water when that was done. And she is always, I can't see her, but she's always about the airmen, quality of life, the dorms. She makes sure that we do the EFDP, the DSD, stratifications by the book, transparent, and with great fairness. She is making sure that we start a warm welcome with our orientation and sponsorship, because this is a big organization, and how do you welcome those individuals to this organization? You are both terrific leaders, but most importantly, you're incredible human beings and friends, and I couldn't be asked for better trifecta. So to my friends, and so I haven't been the best friend that's ever lived, but you've been encouraging. You call and you make sure that I become less work-centered and more life-centered. And so to my Morning Joys crew, the McTanners, the Chapmans, the Vickburn nurses, T2, and the Asian kitchen. Emmy, Pulse, Shades, Connie and Keyburn, the Staffs, and the Wilson 5, most importantly, thank you for keeping us grounded and knowing what's important. Terry and I are lucky to have a great family. My parents and my sisters, my brother-in-laws and nieces in Massachusetts and Connecticut, and his parents in West Virginia. I will tell you the visits have been minimal, but we will be closer in DC. But I can tell you we've been prayed up, and we've been encouraged up, and they've been very patient with us in the last 2.5 years. And then there's the Ryder 7. And so it started with 2, then there was 5, and now we're to 7. And so our daughters are Christine, Paige, and Tara, and our son-in-laws are Ethan and Kwong. We had some milestones. Tara graduated from college and moved to Cincinnati and got a big girl job. And then Paige and Ethan were engaged and got married. And then Christine graduated with her doctorate in nurse practitioner in critical care. And so my proudest accomplishment is the Ryder 7. We do a lot of FaceTime. There is a Ryder Dies with like crossbones group text. And I will say is that there's a lot of pictures that pass, and they're called Phoebe, Sarah, Ducky, and Pup, which are all our dogs right now. And so Paige, I did the Ducky in the ceremony, so there you are. And so I'm just very proud of our girls. They are our proudest accomplishments. And then to Terry. So I have said this publicly, this has been my most challenging job that I have ever had. Like I said, Terry said, yeah, we thought it was going to be busy, and it exceeded every expectation that we ever had. And so Terry's been supportive, he's been encouraging, he's brought me lunch. I will tell you there will be a lot more people who will miss him because he brings Bucky gummies, he brings cookies. It's his recipe, but it's usually Subway or H-E-B. And so, and what Terry will also say, so Terry was enlisted. It was almost like coming back home when he saw EMT graduation, and he said it was his time to make sure that we appreciated the enlisted, because sometimes he thought if you were a senior leader, you didn't know what they were feeling. And I could tell you, Terry, every day you made sure that people understood. So I know I've been distracted. I can't tell you how many times I said, what were we talking about? I'm sorry. And so Terry will always be my best life choice, and I love you the most. And so Tom Harrell, what is the best thing about Tom Harrell? It's Carice. It's Carice. Carice is the most genuine, thoughtful, prayerful person I have ever met. And so what in this world, unfortunately, you're going to say, is this real? And you know what? It's real. Carice, you're the most popular Harrell 31 years in a row. Now, Tom, I'm going to say nice things about you now, but you know I'm truthful. Am I not lying? I am lying. So, we're lucky to have both Tom and Carice here. So Tom, he knows the readiness mission. He knows what we are going to fight in the future. He knows how we are going to have to be prepared. And he is the right leader at the right time to get us ready. There's a lot of transformation when you talk about the DHA advancement and when you talk about the AFMED structure. But Tom, what you will soon realize is that the 59th Medical Wing, the San Antonio market, is the blueprint for these transformations. We have reviewed 100 topics, 4 large boards. My mother would have been proud. My handwriting was very neat on those boards. We have shared 100 emails, You have an outstanding team. I know you will lead and serve this premier readiness, training, and healthcare platform, and Terry and I wish you and Carice the very best. So in closing, to the men and the women of the 59th Medical Wing, thank you. You save lives, you change lives, you answer your nation's call, whether in a deployed location, COVID support, or in Holloman. You are elite educators, trainers, researchers, and clinicians. You are problem solvers and innovators. You advocate for each other and for our patients. You are leaders. You do better because you know our patients, our warfighters, our airmen, our guardians, they need better. So I thank you for letting me be in all of you every day. It has been my highlight, my honor, to be the 59th Medical Wing Commander. Upon the conclusion of this master class, I am a better person and I am a better leader. It is time to start the next chapter of the 59th Medical Wing. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the change of command.
Attention to orders. Under the provisions of AFI 51-509 and Special Order Number G23-006, Brigadier General Jeannine M. Ryder will relinquish command of the 59th Medical Wing to Brigadier General Tom Harrell, effective 6 September 2023. Signed, Lieutenant General Brian S. Robinson.
Sir, I assume command.
Thank you, Colonel Robinson. It is my pleasure to introduce the new commander of the 59th Medical Wing, Brigadier General Tom Harrell.
All right, yes, please, everybody, be seated. Now, we were joking earlier that as the years go by, and I have 4 frames of glasses, depending upon just how far I want to see. And so the biggest concern before all of this was to make sure the glasses were arrayed properly so that we could all get to our words at hand. To the Airmen of the 59th and partners at Brooke Army Medical Center, let me start with thanking you for your steadfast work, as Jeannine said, in delivering safe and effective care to all the people who trust us with their health and their lives. General Robinson, Mrs. Robinson. General officers, and I will have to pause and acknowledge the former STs who are here, the former wing commanders who are here. The weight of what you have done now rests on me, and the ability to execute in the way you have executed and continuing the mission. Fellow commanders, colonels, chiefs, distinguished guests, Department of Defense, Defense Health Agency, Veterans Affairs, San Antonio Mission Partners, in concert with my bride of 35 years, Carice, let me also extend to you our heartfelt appreciation for honoring the Airmen of the 59th Medical Wing here today with your presence. And General Ryder, Jeannine, thank you, and Terry, for your leadership and for your service up until this very morning executing mission. On behalf of all of the airmen. And to all those, of course, who made today possible, as you've heard listed, thank you. Thank you all. We do what we do every day because of relationships. the professional and personal bonds that we build propel us forward. The laws, statutes, regulations, and rules, they are important, but they are not what drives us. Relationships do. Carice and I look forward to strengthening the bonds which already exist for us here in San Antonio, and to build new bonds with people and organizations that have arrived on the scene here since we were last here in 2018. Now, my link to San Antonio reaches back over 5 decades, well before Carice and I first arrived here in 2002 for our assignment at the venerable Brooks Air Force Base, the School of Aerospace Medicine, the modern home at the time of air and space medicine, and the location of President Kennedy's last official act before he headed to Dallas, opening the school. My connection to San Antonio stems even further back, way back, to my dad's arrival here at BMT. One of 4 brothers from a sharecropping family in North Carolina, when his draft number came up, he decided to join the Air Force, based on the great report he had received from his brother-in-law. And he drove here with my mom, with an initial promise to all of his brothers, I'll come back to the farm as soon as I've done my service to the country. And he was almost surprised by how much he loved it. So much so, he turned into a career. He spent 98% of his time as a SAC security warrior, in a time not unlike what we face today, with the peer competition that we are engaged in. And he capped off his career as a chief, 30 years, 4 months, and 12 days. My dad is my earthly hero, and one of the primary reasons that I'm in uniform today. The Air Force is the only life I have known, and the only life I want. So I am grateful to Carice, who surveyed the life in front of us 35 years ago and agreed to marry me and be the best unpaid member of the Department of the Air Force you'll know. She can give you the mission brief of every organization we've been in better than I can. And she tirelessly serves the airmen and guardians that we have the privilege to contact with every day, spending herself on their behalf. Now, I purposed to start today in my tenure here with words that give you a glimpse of who we are, because people matter. Our patients from all services, total force and veterans, as I said, trust us with their health and their lives. It is sacred work to care for another human being. Our airmen, with a capital A, fellow service members, they deserve the best servant leadership that we can muster every day. The Department of the Air Force, and more broadly, the Department of Defense, deserves and rightly expects from us to be ready to deliver combat medical capability and humanitarian relief anywhere in the world at a moment's notice. It is a no-fail mission. Our civilian mission partners in and out of healthcare in San Antonio and the surrounding areas deserve our transparent and open communication to forge a way forward and generate the highest level of effectiveness possible. Our country, with millions of people who will never personally know me or the airmen that I get to represent, expect us to be above reproach, honorable, and trustworthy. And they're glad that we're here for them. For Carice and I, people come first. Now, lest that comment generate any confusion, let me be clear. We have a mission to accomplish. Many of them are no-fail missions. There are no do-overs. We will execute those missions effectively. We will prioritize and give due attention to the task at hand. We will uphold standards. The mission gets done best when we take care of each other the best. There will likely be a time when I need to ask for that extra measure. And when it is needed, it needs to be there. And that means there needs to be fuel in the tank. I expect our teammates to invest in each other, to care for each other, and to make ourselves better. To invest the most valuable commodity that we all have, and that's time. I expect each team member, especially those in leadership, to set aside time each day to think about what is professionally and personally important, and having identified those things, to get after the important. You can do it, and you must do it. Otherwise, you are reduced to the world of reacting to the world around you, driven by the tyranny of the urgent, as opposed to shaping it and driving the team forward. To recognize those things, you need to be deliberate and purposeful in prioritizing tasks. I will use the information available to make the best decisions possible with the team. When circumstances are new or information changes and it drives a change in vector, we will pivot. I am not bound by sunk costs. I will own every decision, the good ones and the bad ones, and we will do what is right and what is necessary. Everything else is negotiable. We spend most of life in gray. We will face situations that aren't in a Department of Air Force instruction or a statute. I expect airmen to operate with an awareness of mission command, and our mission is twofold. We must be ready to deliver combat medical support anywhere in the world, using line of the Air Force expeditionary schemes of maneuver, and operate under varying levels of command and control in contested agile combat employment environments against a peer competitor. We must be ready. We are fundamentally changing our medical readiness force posture with the largest overhaul since the 1990s to create a smaller, leaner, modular medical capability which can aggregate and disaggregate as operations demand. We will continue to deliver safe and effective health care in partnership with the Defense Health Agency and be good stewards of the resources we have been provided. We will seek unity of effort and integration of healthcare support. Where there is tension, we will seek to understand first, and then plot a way forward, mitigating risk. Carice and I will invest in you. We will take care of each other, and together we will execute the mission.
The men and women of the 59th Medical Wing welcome you and your family. We look forward to serving with you all. In keeping with Air Force tradition, we will conclude today's ceremony with the playing and singing of the Air Force song. While it is customary for Air Force members to stand, we invite all of our guests to join us in standing for the Air Force song and the departure of the official party.